These tragedies, these communities picking up the pieces, these news reports, time and again, the narrative is the same, but what changes are the devastated families. And I want to bring in someone who experienced this terrible reality nearly 10 years ago. Erica Lafferty is the daughter of Don Hochsprung, the principal of Sandy Hook Elementary, who was murdered, and Robbie Parker, whose daughter was also murdered in Sandy Hook. We thank you both so much for being here. I want to start off by asking what the roller coaster of emotions you've experienced is like since yesterday. Erica, start with you.
It was eerily similar how I found out. I got a breaking news alert on my computer when I was working. I was sitting on my couch just as I was the Friday morning in December back in 2012. And the flood of terror and emotion just came, as you said, it was a roller coaster. It just all came flooding right back in. It brought me right back to those horrible hours spent in the Sandy Hook firehouse. And my heart was just bleeding for the families in Texas, knowing what they were coming up to.
And Robbie, same question to you.
Yeah, for me, it was different this time for me. I was at my daughter's school, my middle daughter's school. I was getting ready to pick her up, and I started getting text messages from people that were hearing the news before I had heard it. And just a really depressed, sinking feeling in my chest. And that was followed with just a lot of rage and a lot of anger and just a deep sadness, because I know that there's other families now that are experiencing the same thing that Erica's family and my family experienced. And that's just a pain you can't describe. And to know that other people are feeling that it's hard to swallow.
Erica, often people will say it's too soon to debate how we can tackle this problem. You had tweeted talking about life-saving measures from the PSA is not politicizing. It's never, ever too soon. It is absolutely too expletive late. Almost a full decade after burying your mom, and people are still saying it's too soon. However, Sandy Hook families have made some strides when it comes to tackling gun manufacturers. But do these incidents make you feel like it's one step forward and then 5 steps back?
100%, yes. We have made huge strides in the states. There have been background check bills and extreme risk protection orders, bills like that passed. But nothing has been done on the federal level. I was listening in earlier and as it was said earlier, we are literally being held hostage by a Congress, by a federal government that refuses to act and refuses to do anything that will make any kind of real change. Guns don't abide by state lines. And that's something that people really need to take a real hard look at. But to say that nothing was done really seems unfair to the people who have been in this fight for so long. But there is so much more to be done. And unfortunately, the club that we've joined just grows by the masses every single day.
And Robbie, the NRA of today certainly is not the same NRA that you battled after your terrible loss. But why do they still feel so relevant when it comes to these issues?
I can't really speak to the fight that Eric has been fighting and fighting against the NRA. After Sandy Hook, that wasn't something that I felt like I wanted to participate in. I stayed really quiet. I tried to protect my 2 younger daughters, and I focused on what it was that my family needed at the time. And I felt like what my family needed at the time was their dad. And we needed to focus on our grief and our healing. And now that I have some years behind me and I have some perspective and I'm thinking about the families there in Texas and what they're going through, this isn't a fight that they need to be fighting. And Erica and we have that perspective and we have the energy now. We've worked on our grief and we can take the fight to them and we can do what it is that we need to do. I think so many times people deflect because this is really tragic and it's really hard to swallow. And they ask the wrong questions. They want to waste time asking, why does this happen? Or why does that happen? When really the question that we need to be asking is what can I do? What is it that I can do to make sure that these things don't happen anymore?
And Robbie, you just said that you have already kind of worked through your grief to some extent, although I'm sure it never quite goes all the way away. For those families, those parents who it's still so fresh, 24 hours old at this point, what would you say to them?
I say that their focus needs to be on their healing. This is something that you hear it from everybody, and they say, I can't imagine what it is that these families are going through, but I can imagine what it is they're going through. And I can't speak specifically for them, but what I can say is that this is time that's very important. They need to be surrounded by people who genuinely love them, who have a support system, and who are going to be able to buoy them up. As many thoughts and prayers and condolences might be going towards them, they don't need to hear from us. They need to be supported by their system and their community and their families, and they need this time for their healing. But that doesn't mean that these conversations need to have some moratorium. We can be having those conversations, and we can be doing the things that are appropriate to make sure that more families don't have to join this group.
Erica Lafferty, Robbie Parker, we thank you so much for your time.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.